Illegal elbow.
Elbow techniques. This is the elbow. An elbow from here. I'll throw the elbow.
Yeah, the illegal elbow.
Welcome back, just like that!
Hey, welcome to Illegal Elbow MMA and more. This is Brian from LegalElbow.com and Illegal Elbow on Twitter.
And this is Dan from MMA Aftermath on Facebook and Twitter.
So we saw Bellator over the weekend. We saw World Series of Fighting. It was an action-packed weekend, man. And which, remind you people, we had Roberto Villa on, our homeboy from FightbookMMA.com, also Fightbook MMA on Facebook. So go there, check it out.
Basically a legend in MMA social media.
And AKA, well, not AKA, but guy's also a friggin' pimp. But, no, but so it was an awesome weekend, man, for just MMA alone. You know, a lot of people might throw some stones at it.
And the funny part is, UFC didn't even have a fight card going on.
Yeah, no card whatsoever. And I was kind of relieved at that because it's like, oh, we got a little bit of a break here, but it's like then holy explosion. World Series of Fighting puts on an awesome card. Then Bellator puts on a great card, you know what I mean? So, and in Bellator, it's like, with what they have to work with, they've really done well, because it's like, it's a slow process of bringing in and building the roster and all that stuff. So, I mean, it was a great weekend, you know, and coming out of it, it's like, you know, what else is there to talk about other than this newer promotion debuting, you know, its first event, New Year's Eve. We're talking about Samurai promotion in Japan, and announcing that Fedor Emelianenko has signed with them, and will be fighting in Japan, which the guy's a freaking legend. Okay, the guy's huge over here. The guy is beyond. He's surpassed legend status in Japan long ago. So it makes sense for him to be there. A lot of people, well, you know, he's not in UFC. What the fuck?
Well, they're also saying, hey man, you know, really, if you look at it, he's stuck in the competition with signing with Bellator. Which, if you really think about it, if you're a businessman, you're going to go with the best deal. Okay, it's not about who you're fighting; it's about you're on the back end of your career. Okay,
right.
It's all about going out with some fucking cash in your pocket, securing not only you, but you know, future Emelianenkos down the road.
And not only that, getting behind promotions that he respects, people that he respects.
Yeah,
he doesn't respect Dana White because Dana White's all about, you know, lining his pockets.
And Dana White doesn't, like you said, Samurai, you know, FC, MMA FC. He's in with M1 Global, you know, and this has a direct tie with Scott Coker. Okay,
right,
this is Scott Coker having these ties from back in Strikeforce, Pride. He knows these people. He probably has some of these bigwigs over for dinner. Put it that way.
Yeah.
This is how close Scott Coker is with the international fight organization families. Dana White is too pompous to have that. And fuck, okay, Dana White, you came in and you swooped up Crow Cop under Bellator's nose when they were having contract talks with him. Well, guess what? He struck back. He not only struck back, is he's got a try promotional family here with United States, Japan, and Russia fan base coming together. He has just struck literal gold, in my opinion. And Brian and I were talking about this when fricking Coker took over. We're like, what is the big move Coker's going to do? And we finally seen it. It started off with this tournament, and during the tournament, what announcement did we have? Fucking Fedor. Dude, he put everybody on notice. All other organizations, including UFC, that they are on notice going into 2016, bro.
Yeah, and you got a guy like Coker. He's always been good at putting on good fights. Sometimes people would call them lopsided cards, but it's like, well, you got them lopsided cards, but they're leading to future cards. They're going to be huge because you got guys that are coming out of those wins. They're going to have to face each other. So, I mean, it's kind of a building process. It's its own kind of form of a tournament. You know what I mean? Without calling it a tournament, kind of. That's kind of my take I put on it because it always builds towards something else. And then you got him putting on, a try, like you said, a try, co-promotion, a try promotion. We should call it, but with an M1, a Samurai, and a Bellator. Which, like you speculated earlier, with talking with Roberto, that could possibly be Dynamite too. And I think it would be awesome because even if they want to call it something else for themselves, whatever they want to call it, I don't even care. But it's like Dynamite 2, this would be sick because it gives Bellator a whole new name. It could, it takes it in a direction where some people might not like it, but seriously, man, if you really, really like the tournaments, you'd rather see it go back to tournaments, at least give this a shot because this is going to be, in the grand scheme, it's going to be a much bigger idea. You know what I mean? It's just going to be a much bigger deal, when it comes to the entire face of MMA outside of a UFC. Because, I mean, UFC, they've gotten to the point where they're so big in their britches, whatever. They're getting so big for their britches that we can go ahead and pay fighters shit now. Reeboks, we got Reebok paying them, which, it still leads to be said whether they got guys being paid by the UFC, a little extra check to go with that. Because it always says, oh, what was the fight, excuse me, what do you call it, man? The fight, all of the payouts. How's the payouts structure work for this card? And I mean, they're drastically lower than what they used to be. Why would any fighter even do this? So it's like there's got to be some extra check. There's got to be something else going in there. I don't buy it. That you can go from fighting in UFC making whatever it is. Let's say just across the board $25,000 you made in 2014 fighting for UFC, and then we get all this Reebok crack coming in, and then it's based on how long you've been with the performance or with the promotion since your Strikeforce tenure and all that, and since they bought Strikeforce and all that. So there's a date put on it. So Tim Kennedy comes in here after making $25,000, and he comes in making $5,000. Why would anybody do that? So there's got to be an extra check somewhere. I don't buy it. There's been a lot of fighters coming out talking about it, but what I'm saying is with that kind of crap going on, and Bellator making big stinking moves, which across the board they're not gigantic moves, but worldwide they're real big. Worldwide they're real big because you're talking about a Russian crowd with M1. You're talking about a Japanese crowd with Samurai. And then you're talking about Bellator with the United States. I mean, this is giant, people. And if it's going to get giant worldwide, sooner or later, over here, it's going to be giant too. Because
it's got the trifecta of fan base.
It's just ridiculous. And you're going to have, some of those some of those UFC fighters that are from Russia, they're just ride their contract out and leave. Some of them guys from Japan just ride their career out and leave. Because it's like, I don't want to go. I want to go where I'm loyal to. I want to go where, these fighters, really, in my opinion, it's like, think about it. If you were to take on, which it's probably not the greatest way to think about it, but if you were to take on the least path of resistance, which some guys do it, some guys have to do it, you would take on a Bellator before you take on a UFC. But if you're going to be across the world, worldwide, as shown in Russia, Japan, and I mean, Bellator has Fox deals all over the world. A lot of people don't know that. In the States, a lot of people don't know that because of UFC on Fox. They just assume that, Bellator don't have that deal. No, Bellator has that deal. It's just other parts of the world. So there's just so much shit going on that a lot of people don't know about because they don't look for it. You know what I mean? But Bellator's making huge moves right now. Like we're talking about, and we talked about in the last show, just solidifying, 3 huge countries. Basically, some people are calling it the new Pride. And it's taking place over in Japan, so it's going to bring those same kind of fights that were in Pride. Like I said, speculating here. You know what I mean? It's not going to be. They're not going to be sanctioned like they are over here. So you're going to see some sick ass fights coming out of these.
Mm-hmm. And you're not going to have fucking UFC coming up and buying these fuckers out because they're backed by Viacom. Okay.
No, not all 3 of them, but Bellator has nothing to worry about when it comes to that.
Yeah,
Bellator builds their name off all 3 of these guys, and they keep moving up and up and up.
Well, I'm just saying, with them signing a contract to be, with Samurai, I don't know if the contract's, binding where, UFC couldn't come in there and fucking touch anything, because of the contracts. So,
that could be. Yeah, no idea really. It could be.
Or even if UFC tried some shiesty shit, Viacom would just come in there and overbid them. So no problems. Especially if it's been lucrative for a few years, to where UFC feels threatened, because every time they feel threatened, they just buy up the organization.
Mm-hmm.
So
AKA Pride, AKA Strikeforce.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, well, a lot of shady shit happened in Pride. Well, a lot of shady shit didn't happen in Strikeforce because they were over here. Yeah. So it's like people just tend to forget about Strikeforce. It's like Strikeforce was the biggest organization outside of UFC. Yeah. So people can't forget about Strikeforce. And you got to say, the head of Strikeforce, he's heading Bellator right now. So you're seeing the fruits of this guy's labor.
Yeah, with the tournament, with the tourney, you haven't seen one of those in fucking years. So he's bringing back, the same night tournament, dude.
Right.
When is the last time you seen that?
Bellator's had the tourneys forever, and people like those. But it's like, no, you're talking about a one-night tournament, where Phil Davis has 2 finishes in one night. It was fucking epic, man. It's epic. It's huge.
It was. And
a lot of guys out there can't do that. You know what I mean?
Ex-UFC guys coming in Bellator and being successful and saying, that might shine a light onto current fucking UFC guys that contracts are coming up, saying, hey, Bellator might be the new hotness. Okay? Because
talk about Josh Thompson, baby.
Yeah. Josh Thompson, fucking Phil Davis. So it's so Phil Davis contract came up, signed with Bellator, and he is coming into an organization that is on their way up with the Bellator Dynamite, and them signing Fedor, and Fedor going to be fighting on New Year's Eve. They're not waiting like a CM Punk and giving him a fucking year before he fight. Where is CM Punk? But he's coming in and he's fighting in a few months. Okay? There's no waiting around. Fedor's ready to go. So everybody's going to be turning into this. It's going to be a big-ass event for Bellator, and they are going to make boatloads of money, bro.
Yeah. Just the Japan crowd alone, those are dedicated fans. When you look at, and it was really funny, too, because I saw an interview with Sakuraba, and it was hilarious, too, because the guy said, what do you think the health of MMA is right now in Japan opposed to the United States? And you know exactly what he means by that, right? You know exactly what he means by that. What he's saying is, how good is the sport of MMA doing in Japan versus the United States? Sakuraba came back with, well, we eat lots of fruits, and it was so hilarious. He came back with, like, how's the health? How's the diet? It was so funny, man. I'm like, oh, this is great. This is fucking great.
Trolling the reporter.
And he was doing a lot of laughing, so I don't know if that's what he was trying to do, or he actually really just took it wrong. I don't know, but
Sakuraba's always been a clowning guy, so.
Yeah. And I mean, legend status, man. The guy's awesome. And he's talked about making a return, but it's like I don't even care about your return, dude. Just do some shit with your promotion, man.
I've
This
seen
is
him in
set to
Bellator.
be Sakuraba's promotion, Samurai.
They don't got enough knee wraps and leg wraps and fucking
ear wraps,
body wraps. Yeah, ear staples and wraps. And...
ear staples. Jeez. But you got the guy from which I can't pronounce his damn name, but the old owner of Pride. He's coming out of the woodwork. I don't know if he's part of this Samurai thing, but I've seen some rumblings about Samurai, and then I've seen some rumblings about that guy's name back into the promotion business. So I don't know if he's teaming up with Sakuraba. I don't know. I'm just, like I said, speculation on my part, But it's exciting, super exciting. Fedor Emelianenko being back into it is also super exciting because you wonder what he's going to do after having 3 years off. Does it take off some of that where people say, oh, he's got a questionable chin. Some people could go ahead and say, hey, he's got a questionable chin. He's a couple knockout losses here. Does it knock off some of that ring rust? Chuck Liddell took some time off. There comes a time where that chin's just had enough. So if we see some real stern competition, we could see the very well end. But him going into this and him going into this on the rise of everything and on the very beginning, it's huge because you got a giant name, a guy that's already been huge in Japan and huge in the States. So I mean, it's nothing but good things going on for Bellator. Obviously new promotion Samurai and.
Did they say who he was fighting?
Yeah, no, it says unknown fighter. And what we're talking about is Samurai, December 31st, 2015 in Japan.
People saying, they got a meme up there, Fedor. They got a meme with what's his face from, the guy that says, determine that you are not the father.
Oh yeah, Maury Povich.
Povich. It says Fedor said he wanted to face top 10 competition, but signing with the new upstart promotion determined that was a lie. That's a fucking hater thing. Which
and he didn't even say that. If you want to go and look at it like that, he didn't even say that. He just said he wanted to return to competition.
Yeah,
there's lots of guys returning to UFC saying I don't want to fight top competition. So stop it with that.
And it doesn't mean top world competition. It can be top 10 competition in the fucking organization he signs with. So, but not only that, hey, he could have been doing some negotiations with UFC, but when he looked at the long term of it all, and he looked at if he's got sponsorship that's he's with, and those sponsorships know that they are going to be blocked if you go into fucking UFC because of the Reebok deal, that cuts into some of the fucking sponsorship money.
Or at least they're going to be in question whether they can want to stick around anymore.
You're not talking about somebody that's already been in the UFC. You're talking about somebody that's possibly going to sign with the UFC and sees the Reebok deal and sees how fucking restraining it is and just says this is not a good fucking deal. You're going into a dictatorship here. You know, a lot of the people that are with UFC right now don't like it. And they probably want to get out of their fucking deals. And fucking Fedor did himself a favor as a business guy and as his crew that represents him, lawyers or whatever. Finkelstein says, hey, this is not a good fucking deal. It's restrictive. You're going to be losing some money. Hey, it's not a good deal. Let's look at Bellator's way better deal, way more lucrative. And as a business guy, in my opinion, he made the right deal. You know, and UFC probably just fucked themselves because of this Reebok deal. And a lot of these fucking fighters that are coming up on the ass end of their contracts or new up-and-coming fighters might sign with the fucking Bellator because of this shit, dude. This Reebok
or a samurai.
Shit.
Or a samurai because it's a brand new promotion and it's probably got big backing. I mean, if you're talking about a guy that used to run Pride, if you're talking about that kind of guy, if he's behind this, who knows, man? And, you know, the guy's not a stupid mind. He was behind Pride. They were doing big things over there. Oh, people say, oh, they're doing shady stuff. Well, you know, you could take it for face value. You know, were they cheating or were they not? I mean, a lot of people, oh, well, they were fixed fights. Well, do you really know whether they were fixed or not? You know, do you really know? You know, it's just, that's all speculation in itself. So somebody just saying that there were fixed fights in Pride, whatever, man, whatever. There could be fixed fights in the UFC for all the fuck we know. I mean, we don't know. You know, go over to legalobo.com. There's a video on there that says Dana White signing Fedor Emelianenko in some words. You know, I don't remember the exact title because I put it up there a couple weeks ago. Dana White was nearly bent over, snapped a few ribs just so he could try to blow himself on how hard he wanted to sign Fedor Emelianenko. We're talking literally like probably not even a month ago this video was put out.
And 3-4 years before that, there was an interview saying Fedor's done, he's washed up, fucking, we don't want him. So
Right. So you're talking about the king of
contradictions.
Yeah, contradicting himself. So, and then he's saying it's become an obsession. I want to fight Fedor, you know, more than anybody does. It's
Captain
like, well,
Democracy.
yeah, it's like, well, at the same time, why don't you exclude him from Reebok then? Because that's probably what fucking shit it right in the ass right there. I mean, because this whole Reebok deal, which, like I said, I mean, there's got to be some backyard, or not backyard, but behind the back, whatever, paycheck being added to that. I just don't get it. How could you take a fighter that was making $20,000 and then all of a sudden pay him $5,000 and he's okay with it? No, I'm sorry, it don't happen. It's got to be, somebody's got to be getting an extra check somewhere. This is bullshit. Doesn't make any sense. So with that in mind, like I said, though, go over, look at that, legalobo.com. Go over, look at that video. You have to scroll down maybe a little bit to get to it, but it's going to be Dana White talking to Helwani about signing Fedor, and he's making it sound like, yeah, he's real, you know, real cutesy and everything, making it sound like they might have it done, you know, maybe. But he's not saying yeah, he's not saying no. So it's like, well, he's not saying yeah and he's not saying no because he knew damn sure that he didn't have it in the bag, but he just wanted to leave it out there for people to bite onto. And then sure enough, he didn't have it. So, and he did announce at the last major UFC card that no, that was not a go. He was not able to get Fedor Emelianenko. So with that being said, it's like now we know what's going on here. You got a three-way co-promotion going on here, and UFC is going to have some shit to. UFC's not going to, you know, not going to combine anything with anybody unless it's Fox or that kind of a deal. So I don't know. It's just getting rough. It's getting rough for UFC again, and we're going to see it getting even rougher in the next year. We've already gone through probably a good year of Coker being in there. I don't know, whatever, year and a half. I don't know how long it's been. But shit's already ramping up, and it's looking good. So
yeah, it is.
Last time it ramped up and it looked really good, it was Strikeforce just before they got bought out. So, and like we've talked about, Viacom's not going to sell. They don't need to sell. Coker's already talked about, hey, they don't need to sell. There's no need to sell here. We don't. So unless Viacom becomes really in dire need of money, they're not going to sell because they got everything. I mean, right now they got MTV, VH1, got all that shit. So
Got all that garbage.
and Spike TV, excuse me. So, yeah, but I mean, those are all huge channels. Those are giants. You know what I mean? MTV is huge, man. When it comes to young kids to old kids, I mean, it's huge. These kids are looking for a way of life when it comes to these channels. I mean, as ridiculous as that sounds, but it's true. You can bring a fight game to them and turn some of them onto it. It's like, hey. And they're giants. They don't have to worry about money. They're not worried about UFC buying them out and once they do come to that, then they're not doing as good as we think they were either. But I don't think that day's coming anytime soon because in the music business, the MTV business is ever evolving. It's ever changing. You know what I mean? It's not one of them things it's I don't know. I don't see it happen anytime soon. Them selling. You know what I mean? With the things that we've been talking about, things we've been hearing. So I was just going to say, with this tri-promotion thing going on, I think it's awesome. It's going to be a huge event at the end of the year. Bellator is going to be doing whatever it's doing. And then at the end of the year, you're going to have this huge tri-promotion thing going on. M1 Global, Samurai, Bellator. It's going to be another huge Dynamite type of night. So probably even bigger because, you're going to have a couple of Bellator fights on it, a couple of Samurai fights on it to appease the Japanese crowd. And then you're going to have probably some kickboxing fight in there. Glory will probably be on that as well, which is sweet. And then you're going to have some M1 Global. It's a it's a worldwide event, man. It's huge, just like it was when it was Dream, Strike Force, and all them other guys. So they're kind of going back to that kind of era,
Yeah.
And revitalizing it, which is sweet, man. But I'm getting tired of hearing my own voice, man. I'm sorry, dude.
No, it's before all this was announced, we had people like fucking Chael Sonnen coming out spouting off saying, "Oh, fucking, I got some insider news that Fedor's going to be signing with UFC, and they're a fight between him and Anderson Silva is in the works." So
right, yeah.
We see how fucking true that was.
And some kid's been all over the fucking internet. Well, not all over the internet, but all over the Facebook, fight pages and stuff like that, saying that, well, Chael speaks the truth. I'm like, dude, wait a minute. Chael's been already caught cheating a couple times, and he's been caught in lies a few times. So what you're saying is just not true, man. It's not true.
And if you were watching World Series of Fighting, you wouldn't know that there was another announcer, a commentator, in the booth with Chael Sonnen, because Chael Sonnen commanded the mic about 98% of the time, and the other dude was just, once in a while he'd come over and say some shit, but Chael Sonnen was just running off like a fucking leaky faucet. So,
and he was not very well versed on every one of them fighters either. So he did a good job. I'm not gonna say that he did a good job, but you could tell in some of those spots, you don't know very much about this guy. So whatever you're saying right now is just might as well be null and void. But that's the way it goes with announcing, man. You're not gonna know everybody going out there, man. I mean, you're not gonna know everybody front and center. That's just fact. You know what I mean? But he didn't make it look very good either. I mean, he did it, like I said, he did a good job with it, whatever. But at the same time, he showed some holes in his game as a mouther too. But because that's all he really is. Just his whole career has been based on his mouth. So if anybody wants to get behind Chael, that's cool, man. But the dude's proven a liar, proven a cheater. All right, people, thanks for tuning in, man. It was a blast. Don't forget to check us out, MMA Aftermath on Facebook, MMA Aftermath on Twitter, also Illegal Elbow on Twitter.
And head on over to illegalelbow.com. Check out the top 20 heavyweight list and the heavyweight forecast and all the extras and new stuff that Brian's been putting on. That's illegalelbow.com, people.